Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Dart Zone Max Outlaw. This blaster came out in 2023 and is currently a Target exclusive where it retails for $31.99 USD. The blaster includes 12 half-length darts, some max eyewear gear, 2 auto-advanced half-length dart cylinders. The blaster also is hammer primed and its recommended age is ages 14 plus. The box also has a flip open lid to give you a preview of the contents inside. So that all the way, let's get this blaster out of the box. Alright, so here we have the Outlaw out of the box. We're going to start off as usual with our instructions. These are very simple single sheet instructions with some advertising in here. It has our do not return to store label and some advertisements for the different types of darts, including the darts that come with the blaster, which are the ruby darts here. Speaking of which, here's our darts. The Dart Zone Max half-length darts are the ruby darts as they refer to them in that advertisement. Next we have our max eyewear gear, just a simple pair of safety glasses so you don't shoot your eye out. Here's the auto advanced cylinders. They have a 6-round capacity. This system is very similar to the one that's in the Deuce Pro. Here we have the Outlaw, and there's a lot going on with this blaster, just a lot of stuff going on. I have no idea where to start with it. I guess we'll just start off by talking about the safety. This is a very simple safety. Push it in on the left side of the blaster. Trigger is locked. Push it in on the right, and it's ready to fire. You might also notice when pulling the trigger, the barrel moves with it. This is a metal barrel. I'm going to assume it's aluminum just by the way it feels, but the barrel is not the only exposed piece of metal on this blaster. The hammer is actually made of metal as well, and that spring feels really heavy. I don't think a lot of people are going to be able to use this blaster one-handed. I'm going to try to fire this blaster one-handed just to see how tired my thumb gets. Let's just load this blaster up. Now, there appears to be 2 ways you can load this blaster. First is taking your cylinders and loading them up like so. But there also appears to be a slot in the side to load darts in. Very similar to the Deuce Pro, how it has a slot to load your darts in. We're going to prime the blaster one-handed. Priming it does rotate the cylinder, and I guess the hammer just actuates the cylinder the same way the trigger moves the barrel. So we're going to load it. I'm going to fire it in a semi-safe direction. Okay. Seems to have some power. To remove the cylinder, you just have to push on it. It should come right out. Requires a little bit of force, but I'm pretty sure this will weaken after some time. So something they don't mention in the instructions or really anywhere is this blaster is compatible with the barrel extensions. So here we have our Mark 2.1 barrel, and it seems to fit on the blaster perfectly fine. Down here looks like a rail. I don't have any foregrips or anything, so I have this apart from the Deuce Pro. It kind of works. It's loose, doesn't really hold, but I guess it could work if you had a proper attachment for this rail here. Not a lot else to say about the blaster, so let's get this thing out on the range and see how it fares. Alright, so here we are down on the range. We're going to start off with our distance test. As usual, for context, the chicken marks 25 feet, the swan marks 35 feet, the frog marks 40 feet, and the far back wall marks 50 feet from where I'm standing. Here we have the Outlaw. We're going to be starting off with Adventure Force. We're going to be firing 6 shots each. So let's see how this thing fares. 50 feet, 40 feet, 50 feet, 50 feet, 50 feet, 50 feet. Pretty interesting results, but let's move on to Dart Zone. 50 feet, less than 50 feet, 50 feet. All right, so here are the results of the test. Pretty normal results with these Pro blasters, though I will say Adventure Force was dropping off a little sooner than Dart Zone was. So I think Dart Zone has a better, is a little bit better at distance in this case. I'm not really surprised at the results. I expect 50-foot ranges with these sporting pro blasters. I mean, all the blasters I've reviewed, they all seem to get to the 50-foot mark. That being said though, I don't think 50 feet is their most effective range when being fired straight. As we know, they kind of land lower on the wall towards the bottom at a very low spot. So let's say you're in a battle and your opponent's standing at the 50-foot mark. You're basically going to be hitting their feet if you don't angle the blaster up. I would say the Outlaw's maximum effective range is around the 40-foot mark. At that, you should be able to hit your target a little more accurately. But anyway, let's move on to the accuracy test. All right, so here we are at the accuracy test. We're gonna start off with Adventure Force. We're gonna be firing 6 shots each. And by the way, that is your sight picture. Yes, we actually have sights on a blaster this time. All right, let's see how this fares. Hit the target. I think that was just the wind. Hit the table. I got that. Got one more shot. Oh, got the egg in the back. Let's move on to Dart Zone. Oh, we're already out of ammo. I just threw the auto advanced cylinder, flew out of the blaster. All right, so the Outlaw does appear to be fairly accurate when hitting small targets from about 20 feet away. If you're planning on using this in a battle against other people, I don't think you'll have an issue hitting any of your opponents further away. Seems to be a fairly effective plinking blaster. I'll give it that. So with that all the way, let's go back to the table and give out my thoughts on the blaster. All right, so here we are back at the table, gonna give out my thoughts on the Outlaw. Overall, I really like this blaster. It's a really fun blaster to shoot, very accurate, very far shooting, very reliable, and also very comfortable. Really like this grip. The trigger is kind of heavy because it has to move the barrel up here, but it is smooth, so I don't have an issue with that. I did have my doubts about the hammer being too heavy, but after using this blaster for a while, I did get used to it, and it really isn't that bad. The blaster is also pretty reliable. I haven't had any cylinder skips or jams with any of the darts, so that's pretty nice. The blaster is pretty durable. No complaints here. Seems to be made out of some pretty high quality materials here. Really like that. I also like the inclusion of the barrel attachment point. That's a nice addition to this blaster. Now, if there's any negatives I have to say about this blaster, it's the cylinders. Not the cylinders themselves, just the action of taking the cylinder out of the blaster. I've been trying to find ways to make it really simple to take out of the blaster, but I really can't. Just like the Deuce Pro before it. He still has this issue. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. For one, the locks that hold the cylinder in will wear out after some time, making it easier to remove the cylinder. And they also included a little side loading gate here to load your dart in. Not that big of a deal. But other than that, I still really like this blaster. Now, that all being said, though, there is something I want to bring up about this blaster, and that is its lack of holster. For those who are wondering why I'm even bringing up a holster, that's just because pretty much all the other Dart Zone Pro type blasters come with holsters. The Deuce Pro comes with a holster, and both the Mark IIs come with holsters. They even come with holsters for the magazines, cylinders, and clips that they come with, which is a little bit weird to me. Now, before everybody starts commenting, Hogarth, on Dart Zone's website, they have STLs to be able to 3D print the holster. Yes, I know about them. In fact, when I first heard about this blaster and started doing research on it, I noticed the 3D printable files. I do know about them. But I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's less of a problem and more of just a disappointment that Dart Zone doesn't include a holster, though they include it with the rest of them, and just expect people to be able to 3D print them. Now, I kind of understand what Dart Zone's thought process is on this. This blaster is for an older audience and people who are more in the hobbyist / sporting circles of foam dart blasters. So they will either A, own a printer, or B, know somebody who owns a printer to be able to print out the holster. But on a consumer side of things, an average person who's just buying a blaster, they probably don't have a 3D printer or even know someone who has a 3D printer. In fact, and all the people I've talked to, I'm the only person that they know who owns and knows how to use a 3D printer, which just goes to show that 3D printers aren't necessarily a household appliance at this point. Probably will be in a couple of years, maybe 10, 20 years from now, they'll probably be like that. But until then, just the hobbyists will be the ones who have it. For me, the whole inclusion of holsters just adds to the overall value of the blaster. Heck, even the inclusion of barrel extensions and sights, I feel like just make the value more worth it. Now, I'm not saying that $31 is completely unreasonable for this blaster. It just would have been worth more if it had come with a holster, sights, or even a barrel extension. Instead, it's a very simple, very enclosed system here. Yeah, that's just a little bit of a rant about this blaster. Still like it and would still recommend picking one up if you're looking for a relatively small and pretty accurate blaster. You know, I really would recommend picking one of these up. But anyway, what are your thoughts on the Outlaw? What do you think about the 3D printable holster? Comment your thoughts down below. Also comment what else you want to see on the channel. Be sure to check out my review on the Adventure Force Deuce Pro blaster that's very similar to this. Also check out my other reviews. I'll have both those linked at the end of the video. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.